Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This is season 8, episode 28. Oh, goodness, I got a belch. This is your even Dr. C.
This is Dr. Cortina Lewis, aka the girlfriend therapist.
This is Diana Richardson Philippus, your networking extraordinaire.
Yours truly, Shay Walker, the coach of courage.
How are you ladies doing today? It's a hump day, middle of the week. How are you doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Doing good.
No
Cortina,
complaint.
do you have a drink for us today?
I do. It's called Hard to Soft, just to represent kind of like what we're talking about today. So you have 1 ounce of bourbon, 0.5 ounce of sweet vermouth, 1.75 ounces of elderflower soft liqueur. I don't know. That's just my thing now. 0.75 ounces of lemon juice, 2 dashes of bitters, and a splash of Prosecco on top. And you will pour those over ice. You don't have to if everything is chilled, but preferably you pour it over ice. And you will garnish with a lemon twist and an edible flower.
Okay. You with these
That's
edible
good.
flowers.
I know.
Are there different types of edible flowers?
Yeah, there are. So I know I have one that's called, you can make a tea out of it. It's pea flower. So it's blue. And so one of the things that I learned when I went to this bar, the way that they make their drinks is they put the pea flower in the gin, and it turns it a really pretty purple color because the pea flower is like blue hue. And then, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have a jar of pea flower because it's also a good tea. Like you can brew it as a tea. And so I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So that's one of the edible flowers that you can, I don't know how tasty it'll be, but it won't hurt you if you eat it. And then, those, I call them Hawaiian flowers, those really pretty fuchsia color ones that they put in foods and everything like that they garnish with your plates with. You can eat those. And then you can also make a fondant edible flower that floats that you can put in there as well. That might be a little too sweet, but you can make edible flowers. But those are the main edible flowers that I'm aware of. I'm sure that there are more.
Okay. No, I've always wondered, and it's so weird. I do see in the past where I've had flowers in my drink. I just take it out.
Me too.
I've never thought about it sitting there like, let me eat this flower. No. Now, if I ever decide to go and put it in my tea, I might have to try an edible flower that way. Because I'm still 22 days now. No alcohol.
Oh,
All right now.
Sparkling water, which by the way, I drank some right before this and then was like, oh no, now I feel all the fuzz or the sizzle coming up. And then Cortina, let me tell you, when you first said the drink was from hard to soft, or was it soft? I was not sure where you were going with that.
Neither was I, but my mind went somewhere else. I was like, ooh.
Well, I was thinking because, sometimes we start out very hard, like grinding in the paint, have to do everything. So we're going from a hard life to a soft life, and it kind of honors the journey. Like, what's the journey from the realization and the acceptance and the motivation to go from a hard life to a soft life? So, the lessons that we learn, navigating the shortcomings and the pitfalls and the getting back up and like I said, grinding very hard and working tirelessly to get to the point where you want to be. And even though, life is hard, it can be hard. we also have to remember the softer side, like, because in the softness, it comes a sense of peace and ease. Doesn't mean life is easy, but a sense of ease where I can navigate through this, but I can also be kind and gentle with and to myself.
Don't you think there's like this, where there's this I guess social shift to be in that place of constantly grinding, constantly doing something, constantly moving, constantly producing? There is not as much out there about soft life living, or how to even start to transition to that, or what that looks like for a lot of people. Or people might say that, but yet they're, from the looks of it, there's not a change where they're not out here still grinding and grinding and grinding to produce and make money and all of those things. So I guess, what in you all's opinion does soft like look like?
I think that's different for everybody, right? Because some people, you have soft life housewives, right? If I'm a business owner, there's no way my soft life is going to look like their soft life. They might be raising kids. They might not have any kids in the house, but they don't have to worry about the responsibilities of managing a company or doing the day to day. So their soft life might not look like my soft life, and my soft life might not look like your soft life. And so I think you have to take time to sit with yourself to figure out, when I hear soft life, what does that mean for me? How does that fit into my lifestyle? For some people, soft life mean, you know what? Every other week, I'm taking a weekend trip because I'm just relaxing on the beach with a cocktail or whatever. My life won't accommodate for that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just went 2 weeks back to back on trips. I am still struggling to catch up on rest. Like, I was like, I can never do that again. Never. And then this weekend, I have a women's expo that I'm presenting at. And then the next weekend is my grandfather's funeral. So we got to travel for that. And then after that, Pam, that's your 50th. And so I was like, I cannot wait till I can just do nothing. Traveling cannot be my soft life. I enjoy traveling, but it has to be spread apart because it takes me time to recuperate and be back to my normal self. I already have challenges already, but it even complicates it. So that would not be my idea of a soft life. Now, maybe it could be if I didn't have other responsibilities, maybe if I had nothing else to do but to sleep and catch up, but that's not my life. There are some people, they like to, just go to galas and dress up all fancy all the time, and be prim and prance and everything. Yeah, I don't view that as a soft life, because having to go get makeup done, like, I don't wear makeup on the daily. Like, so having to go do all that stuff, I like to do it occasionally, but it just seems like it would be too much for me. So that would not be my idea of a soft life. So I think it's very individualized.
Yeah, Diana, what does soft life look like for you? Or even if you're not there, what would it look like?
Well, I'm definitely there. I've been there for a while now, even though I got to refill my cup. But I think that we should really start with when people's perception of soft life, right? When you hear people's perception, especially when you're thinking about it from a social media standpoint and everybody's soft life, I think that they often think that, it means you're avoiding work or you're living in luxury 24/7, but for me personally, soft life isn't about being lazy. It's about living in alignment, right? It's about me choosing my peace, my purpose, and flowing from that space, and not constant struggle and burnout. And also, I would like to add that, there's a big difference between grinding from alignment and then grinding from survival mode, right? Mm-hmm. Because I feel that one is definitely rooted in your purpose, and then the other is rooted in pressure. So I think that people need to definitely, to Cortina's point, figure out what that soft life picture looks like for you. But for me, when I think about the term soft life living, that's me living in my purpose, right? It's not me avoiding any type of responsibility. It's not me not building my business. And grinding, that word can be taken so many different ways. It really can. But it's just really being in alignment. So soft life living is everything for me.
Okay. What about you?
So I've recognized when it's time for me to build and when it's time for me to chill. Okay. It's become very obvious to me which season I'm operating in, and I'm okay with what that looks like. I'm okay with what that looks like, because when I am in grind mode, I go hard because I'm passionate about what it is that I'm doing. But when it's time for me to chill, I respect, what that looks like. Now, I used to have tug of war with it because, your body will start giving you signs and telling you when to sit your butt down and take rest, and how many times have I pushed beyond what my body is telling me, and then boom, before you know it, you on your back, whether it's a cold or an injury or whatever that looks like, you get forced into what you need sometimes. And so to avoid getting to that place, because I got tired of wearing myself down that way, I go hard when it's the season for me to go hard. And I relax and I still apply myself, but I apply myself and show up stronger in a different area. And that's my time where, I'm just focused on meditating and what I need to do as a visionary. And then boom, when it's time to execute, I'm back up and running. I got my boots on the ground again. So, that's what it looks like to me. That's what soft living is for me.
Yeah, I think for me, mine is not overextending myself.
Yeah.
I think I prioritize rest before I prioritize grinding or anything else. And I think probably because I've been paying more attention to my body, I'm definitely advocating to make sure, healthcare wise, that I get what I need. And so for me, I've just been able to take a step back, not just right now, but I started prioritizing sleep, not just rest, but sleep. I've started prioritizing rest. I had to start realizing that I'm setting my own calendar for things. So I don't have to overextend myself. I don't have to I can give myself deadlines, but I'm not going to pressure myself to meet them. I'm going to meet them, but if my mind is tired, I'm not going to be productive. I need to prioritize rest. Just like right now, I'm prioritizing exercise. I feel like that's a part of my soft life. I'm going to be very mindful to take care of my mental and my physical health, because I feel like physically, as long as I'm feeling good, mentally, I'm feeling even better. Mm-hmm. And so I have just been able to prioritize boundaries in different areas of my life. And so for me, that's how I've been able to slide, or I'll say glide, into my soft life era. Like maybe about, I don't know, a year or so ago, I started making that transition into my soft life era.
I would have to say, I think I would be lying if I said I'm in my soft life era. And because for me, it just doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't feel like it would be genuine and true if I were to say that. And because there are parts of joy that I feel, but I want to be able to feel like consistent happiness and joy. Well, not really happiness, because happiness is temporary, but like this undercurrent of joy, regardless of what's going on and happening in the world and in life. I still want to be able to hang on to that and prioritize things that make me happy. So I would say I'm working towards it, but I don't know if I could do the stamp of approval and be like, yep, soft life checked. Like, yeah, I'm just not there yet. And I think that's the important part, being honest about your journey and where you are. While I aspire and I would love to be able to say that I'm there, acknowledging that I'm not and identifying, okay, well, what are the things that I feel like would get me there, where I can say, you know what, yeah, this is my soft life error.
So what does that feel like for you? Because I heard you say, with outward things, right? What's going on in the world. Is that affecting
It does.
your perception of what a soft life would be for you?
I think being able to not be affected or impacted by what's happening, where it emotionally dysregulates me. That's not soft. Like, that's not soft life when I think about it, right? So, like I said, because I know the different things that I experience from an interpersonal space, like with emotions and everything, I feel like in order for me to truly be there, I would have to have a better handle on that and the chaos. Like I have to work on how empathic I am. I feel very deeply. Like I feel everything. And it impacts me very deeply. My husband does not understand the way that my mind works. He was like, it doesn't even affect you. I was like, but it does affect me. Like, you don't understand. He was like, you're not going to be impacted by, you're not being impacted by the shutdown. You're not being impacted by this. You're not being impacted by that. Your kids are good. Like, you're not impacted by student loans. You're not impacted by Medicaid. You're not impacted by, and I was like, you will never get it. You will never get it, because it's not just about me. I said, that's how we get here, because people don't care about other individuals. And I said, we have daughters, right? Look at the laws that are totally against, females being able to have the autonomy over their body. That impacts me. Even though it's not right here on my doorstep, I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the time when I did have to have, I was miscarrying and they had to give me medication to help. If that was me today, they would not be able to. So I'm thinking about things globally, and it's like every day I'm like inundated. Even if I try to take a step back myself, guess what? I'm working with patients that bring it up in the therapy office. Last Friday, I was like, okay, yep, I'm taking a break. I'm not looking at anything. My last patient of the day, oh my Lord. I was like, God, this is crazy, because I just told myself I was going to detach, but can you really fully detach? And so his question was, well, do you act like this with people who are going through trauma? I said, that's very different. I said, if we're talking about whether it's complex trauma or other things that have happened to them, that is something that happened to them. To me, this is very different, because this is on a world stage, right? Everybody's going to be impacted, whether it's directly or indirectly. And so, sometimes even just feeling misunderstood as it relates to how you navigate, through this. And I don't think the space that I'm in, I've ever experienced this before. So this is new for me. I've always been empathetic. I've always been an empath, but I don't feel like I've been to this extent.
Well, this is probably the worst it's been in all of your life. So let's start with that. This has been, I know this is the first time that I have ever endured this level of political trauma worldwide. I would say that. So this is a new experience. So of course you would have not have felt this, even when they had the shutdown before. It was not like this. And that was a shutdown for 35 days, and it still did not feel like this. Yeah. Within a year's time, there's been a lot of stuff that has been undone and continuing to be undone that impacts nearly all Americans in some way, shape, or form. And so this is, I don't think I don't want to call this a new normal. I think this is a new circumstance that we are all having to navigate through emotionally, mentally, some of us physically, and some even spiritually.
And so I guess my thing is creating like a dome, right? To help me preserve my peace and protect myself. Not because what I don't want to do, I don't want to become so disconnected and dissociated with I'm so out of the loop and aloof to anything that's going on. So when we talk about soft life and soft living, it's just me creating a plan or a tool on how to still stay like that balancing act of how to stay enough connected while also being able to enjoy the freedoms that we currently have right now while we still have them.
Well, Cortina, what I can tell you is this. Because I feel where you're coming from. It's very disheartening. It's upsetting to see the state that we as a nation, it's actually.
Are all you are still here? I think she's
Mhm.
okay. I think it's on her side that is frozen.
It's probably my side.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
We're back. Mhm.
But what I would say,
Okay. You're
See, the universe don't want us to hear what she got to say.
I know, seriously. I know. Well, see, this is what happens when
there
we're
I
live.
am again. I don't know what's going on. The devil is a liar and the truth ain't in him, because
Okay,
he don't want me to say what I'm getting ready to say. Okay, we need to lean in to the Lord. You understand me? The devil, you a liar and the truth ain't in you. Get behind me while I deliver this word right here, because at the end of the day, God is in control. And so what works for me is praying about it. We cannot change what's going on. We can still empathize and sympathize. I have people who are directly impacted with the new healthcare, right? That's going to escalate. I'm going to be personally impacted by that, me. But at the end of the day, I just stay in prayer, because that I was just telling Pam earlier, God has a plan. I don't know what it is. None of us will know what it is, but I trust him to take care of it. And even though right now, I mean, I'm not a federal worker, you know, I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but guess what? God is greater. And he will deliver us out of this. I know it with everything in my being. He will. There's something bigger behind this, whether it's to bring us together as a nation stronger. There's a master plan behind it. We just have to lean in and stay in prayer and not let all of these outward circumstances, because guess what? It is going to come together, Cortina. So for you, I know you feel deeply. That's the cancer in you. Trust me, I understand. I have a husband who is I know, and that's a little joke, but kind of a joke, but not really, because y'all do be feeling a lot. Y'all be feeling a lot all up in the chest. Y'all do. And that's okay. You know, and I know because of, you know, your field and you're dealing with people who are directly impacted, and you wear that because you care. You care. But I would still say, just continue to pray for you, pray for our nation, pray for them, pray for everyone, and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
You can't get stuck in it.
So Cortina, you was talking about like right now, you definitely cannot embrace the soft girl era. And I probably could say that because I've already put in, and I feel like I've grinded 20s, my 30s, majority of my 40s. And I personally refuse to walk into my 50s feeling like I have not accomplished enough in my life, that I've earned that right to slow down and start going the opposite way. And so for me, I think that's what kind of pushed my soft girl era, is that I looked at what I've been able to accomplish, and I've accomplished some really great things. And I'm not saying my story is not over, and because I don't know what God has ready for me, but I'm saying for me, I'm not going to work as hard as I did when I was in my 20s or in my 30s or even in my early 40s, because I feel like I put in the work. I put in a lot of sleepless nights. I did I did everything that I wanted to do, no matter the risk, no matter, whether it scared me. I did it. I leaped out there, took those leaps of faith, and here's what it's become. And so I always knew that as I got closer to my 40s, one of the things that I did not want to have to do is feel like I have to still bust my ass and work super hard and lose sleep and work these 18, 19-hour days, because I did that, whether I was going to school, working, building my company, building my brands. I did all of that. And that shit made me tired, and I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be doing that anymore. But if I went back a few years, I wouldn't change any of that, because I earned where I'm at now. And so I can gracefully say that, as I am getting ready to turn 50 in just over 17 days, that I can coast very well into my soft girl era comfortably, while at the same time feeling like I can pursue my passions and walk in, and still work and operate in my purpose.
So for me, on that note, it's almost like, because I pulled back from so many things that I was doing anyway. Like, I have no motivation. Do I feel like there's more in me? Yeah, I just don't want to do it. I don't care. Like, I saw something posted like, oh, TikTok coming to Orlando, whatever. I was like, I don't even want to feel like that. I don't care. Like, I the way I used to have like passion to like do all the things, do all the stuff, I'm not there anymore. So I think from that aspect, with the feeling of having to do, collect all of these, I'm gonna call them infinity stones, like, oh, I did this, oh, this. Like, I don't have that desire anymore. Like, I'm not trying to chase after that, because like I said, I don't care to do it. I don't want it. It's not where I am now. So from that regard, I can say I don't feel like I'm grinding in my career as much as I used to, but it's by choice, because I just don't want to extend that type of energy to that. I do want to be freer to do, and I do have the freedom, but I think it's more so the emotional toil or weight that I feel like I carry in comparison with health challenges and everything like that. So I think it's a culmination of so many different layers that cause me to feel like I'm like this, like teeter-tottering. Like, I see it, I want to get there, but there is just life in the balance that's causing me to not feel comfortable with saying that, yeah, I'm 100% have embraced the soft life, because I'm saying the way that I feel right now, if that is soft, that cannot be a part of the soft life. And I'm not disillusioned to think that every day once you're in the soft life is going to be great, flowers, rainbows. Like, that's not it. But it's just that you have this inward, like, regardless of what's going on around you, there's this inward calm, peace, and joy that you feel, and you're balanced with your life and all of the circles that are a part of your life. And I'm just not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cortina, let me ask you this. Do you feel like you're in alignment? Do you feel like you're aligned with the things that you do?
I feel like I live in my purpose. Yeah.
So this is the thing, right? For me personally, I just feel becoming extremely aligned and on purpose is what did it for me. And always like to say, in terms of grind, I think that word, can be contextualized, right? Because sometimes when people hear grind, they automatically think about hustle.
Mhm.
And I don't believe in a hustle mentality. Once you become aligned, there's no hustle. There's just moving with intention and purpose, right? But I will say this, when you're technically grinding, right? The goal, or it should be, is to always to build a rhythm for yourself that will honor both your ambition and your peace. And I think that for people, you have to find that balance. What does peace look like for you?
Mhm.
And then when you recognize what peace looks like for you, and you understand where your peace really comes from, right? And then you can begin to operate out of that place. I think that, and I'm speaking from a business, an entrepreneur standpoint right now, I think that a lot of people, when they think about, oh, okay, so soft life, oh, I ain't never going to be tired, right? Oh, I'm just going to be, no, you're not. No, you're not. It does not exclude elements of exhaustion at times, because that's what business ownership is, right? You have to build, you have to stay abreast, you have to, Cortina, all you guys should know that, right? You just don't build a business and sit back. I don't care what stage you're in of your business, there's always moments to improve, to grow. So I think that when you understand that that's not your identity, right? It's temporary, right? It's not a permanent state, but it's levels to this shit. Excuse me. There I go. One's going to curse, but I did it. But I think that once you find or understand your true peace, because only you know that, right? Only you know what your peace is. When you figure that out, and then you really just start moving from that place.
So I think I know that there is nothing else on the earth that I was created to do except for what I do. So I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am doing what I was put on this earth to do.
Amen.
Even in knowing that, everything else that comes with outside of that, just life, is what's causing me to feel like I'm not living in my soft life. So if it was based contingent on me, backing away and not going balls to the wall all the time, yeah, I could check that off. If it goes with, walking in your authenticity and in your purpose, yeah, I could check that off. But when I think of soft life, to me, the word, it just doesn't fit where I feel like my life is right now. So if I'm looking at all of those other things, like if I'm like, check, the checks are there on paper, but emotionally, it just doesn't fit for me. So that's what I feel like the disconnect is, because the check marks are there, but emotionally, I'm like, that doesn't feel like I could say that. So I guess figuring out what the disconnect is and how to bridge the gap from, you got the checks, why aren't you feeling it?
Everything that you just said is relatable. I absolutely understand what you're saying. The only difference is, I think this is the most peaceful I've ever been in my entire life, with all of the havoc. what appears, let me say this, because God be doing things, and sometimes we be over congratulating the enemy. We be giving him way too much attention when things are happening, but God is simply just shifting the atmosphere. And so you got to uproot things so that you can sow new seeds sometimes. And so when it feels like there's so much havoc in hell, just things happening, one dart after the other, this has probably been the most peaceful I've ever been in my entire life. And that's because I'm grounded. I'm grounded in my reason and my why and my comprehension of what's happening in the spirit realm. And that's not me saying that no one else is able to do that. What we carry. Oh, what was that? What we carry, whatever our assignment is here on earth, we carry it heavy in some seasons, and some seasons we carry it with ease. And some seasons we don't want to carry it at all. And I know what it feels like to be at that crossroad of not wanting to carry it at all, but understanding what my assignment is.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be very complex right there, because you be like, shh, I'd rather take a nap. I'll do it tomorrow. And then I'll do it tomorrow becomes a dis-ease. And then finally you have to snatch yourself up off the pillow and say, all right, let's get back to it. So we all navigate that, you know what I mean? And so I get it being at the crossroads, but I must say that now that I have complete comprehension and understanding on what's happening, not completely saying what God is doing, but understanding what's happening in the atmosphere, I have more peace and sense of security of knowing that everything is going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to, period, regardless of how chaotic it looks like. God is always, in control of all things. And so everything is going to fall the way it shall. And, I just pray that we all have peace and knowing that, regardless of what it looks like, we have to stand on what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we said we were talking about was soft life versus struggle life. So Cortina, how, or any of you ladies, how do you all define what struggle life is? Like, how do you know, like, if somebody who is watching this, they're like, well, how do I know if I'm in struggle life? I mean, because you don't necessarily have to be in a soft life.
Yeah.
But what does it look like, or what does it mean to be in a struggle life?
I think confusion, being confused, being in a state of scarcity and uncertainty. I think feeling like I'm hyper vigilant, like my head is always on a swivel, being in not secure in life, but maybe in like a survival mode. Always feeling pulled on by everybody around you, the inability to say no. I think the people pleasing. I think where you are doing things that maybe you don't have the capacity to be able to do, but you still do it, which again causes you to have burnout. I think all of those things for me are struggle. For some people, it could be actually like financial struggle, right? That doesn't really make you feel like you're in a soft life. So whether it is not having enough, I think some people can be in a spiritual struggle. That might not make for a soft life either, right? They're battling with different things in their mind. And so I think consistently, because struggle is inevitable, right? In certain areas. But if it's a consistent struggle, as it relates to the things that I am listing, continuous, chronic, always happening, I think that is a struggle life, not necessarily a hard life. Like I said, you can be living the soft life. That doesn't mean struggle is not going to come. It just means I know how to carry it. I know how to handle it. I know how to deal with life on life's terms, not that it takes me out. But if every way you turn, like I haven't even been able to breathe. I asked one of my clients, well, when was the last time you felt safe or okay? She was like, I don't remember since I was a child. Like, you don't even know what normal feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a struggle life. So if I were to say, well, there, no, I'm not in struggle life, but I'm not in soft life either. Like, I'm in that gray area in between, leaning towards soft life, but not quite targeted there. Like I said, on paper, check, but emotionally, no. So that's how I would define struggle life.
Any of you ladies feel anything different?
I
I
feel
think.
no, go
Oh.
ahead, Diana.
Oh, well, thanks. I would just say, for me, is that my mic? Okay. I would just say, I would just lean toward lack of clarity, right? I think for me, when I think about a struggle life, it's not really having any clarity in your life. You're just moving aimlessly. To me, that defines a struggle life, because when you get solid clarity on what it is that you want, what it is that you're supposed to be doing, then you move different. And that, well, that in and of itself, to Cortina's point, can eliminate some, I like to call temporary struggles, right? Because even if someone is having financial struggles, I'll use that one, right? That can be temporary
Mm-hmm.
when you're clear about what it is that you're supposed to be doing. When you're clear and your mind is clear and you're moving from that space, you can eliminate the struggles as they come, because there's going to be certain situations in everybody's life, everyone, where we're going to have obstacles, or you can call it the struggle, right? That you're going to have to overcome. But when you're clear and you have clarity, you can overcome. Cortina?
I would say I think we could say that, but we're speaking from a place of privilege, right? Because you can, and the reason why I say that is because if I grew up, and I'm not saying people don't make it out, but if what I know is I'm working this 9 to 5, I'm making $12 an hour, right? Yeah, my goal is to be here, but I can't even think about what I need to get clarity, because it's always like, go, do, perform. I'm a single mom. I don't have help. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think sometimes if you don't know, if you haven't been taught how to get out of your mind and your mental state, because I got these 3 kids. I barely am making ends meet. I'm struggling financial. I don't have the luxury to be able to take a break and to take a moment to say, this is my path. This is how I'm going to get clear, because from any moment, something can take me out, right? When you have, and I do believe that people can make plans, but they have to have hope. If I am hopeless, it doesn't matter. I can go to every class. I can go to all of these conferences, blah, 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 blah. But if my basic necessities are not being met, if I don't have housing, if I don't have food, if I don't have clothes, if my basic necessities are not being met, that struggle is going to be even harder than someone who had good footing. And so, do I think it can happen? Yes, but I think the path there is going to be longer and harder.
Well, I would agree with you, but you're also speaking to someone that grew up in a traumatic household, with my mother having domestic abuse, not having very much privilege at all, someone who dropped out of high school, someone who didn't have money nor anyone to go to get it, right? And I'm not saying that what you're speaking to is not real. It is. But when you make up your mind, I'm not saying it happens right away, but at a point in time in your life, you have to decide for you. And if you have children, you need to decide for them, right? You have to make your mind up. I didn't come, or I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't get to where I am today by happenstance.
I think privilege is
right.
different, though.
No, I get what you're saying. I do, but I just want to just explain the other side of the coin, because we all have choices to make. We all,
do, but I also
every
think that
one of
all of us
us,
is privileged on
all
this
of us have, I'm
podcast.
privileged now to a certain degree. I am, but I wasn't always here.
And I'm
This
not
this
saying
was a
that you
long
are,
road for me.
but this
I
is the
traveled
thing.
this road the long, hard
So let me
way.
ask you this. You had a home, right? Even though domestic violence was happening in the home, even though you dropped out of high school, right? Did you ever wonder where your next meal was coming from as a
Yes.
child?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
So but there are some people that don't know. The only time they eat is at school. They're
I
taking away
understand
free
that.
lunch, right? They're taking away free lunch. So now,
I
where
understand
I
that.
used to get my meal, damn, my
Mhm.
kids can't even eat at school for free anymore. So what I'm saying is, when our situations are better than somebody else's, we're still speaking from a place of privilege, regardless of how horrible our situation was. And so, taking into consideration, there are people that are, I don't want to say beneath, because you're not necessarily like beneath anybody, but there
That's
are
right.
people in worse situations
Absolutely.
where we may feel like, damn, we at the bottom of the barrel. I had to struggle to get out of this and everything like that. But there was somebody in your life that showed you a different way, because I don't think it came by osmosis. You were exposed to different things that gave you a picture, a glimmer of hope that you can desire and aspire to look towards. There are some people that do not even have that.
Well, you want to know what my outlet was, Cortina?
What
It was
was
church.
okay?
It was
But some
church
people are
for
not
me.
exposed to church, right? Because
I
if my
understand that,
family,
but it was
doesn't do that.
I went to church, and I'll also let you in on this little tidbit. I went to church by myself.
Okay,
My first baptism, I did that alone.
but who
I walked
introduced you
down the
to church?
street to the church and got baptized at 13 years old. And I'm not trying to rebut what you're saying, because
That's
I
fine.
want you to know I understand what you're saying. But I also need for you to understand that I'm not, when I said that about clarity, I'm not coming from a place of privilege. I'm coming from a place of a path that I walked. And while I understand that my path is certainly not the same as people who are out there. I am very cognizant of the fact there is some real stuff going on out here. There are some people out here who were or are in worse situations than I was. I'm cognizant, empathetic, and sympathetic to that. But what I am saying is that it came for me with a decision. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will begin to seek those things which can change your circumstances. It can happen, and it will happen, but it will always start with the person. It starts with you.
So I think that
I don't know.
the only thing that I will say,
Sometimes people plant seeds, and that's
I
where it
know.
starts,
Well,
right?
I also think that this, as somebody who, especially, so I can't really. I've never did the research for adults. I have done extensive research when it comes to children. So, and if you're talking about, generational traumas, and that trauma can look like never have had a meal and all of those things, or being homeless as a child, or going into different group homes or shelters or any of those things as a child. One of the things that lack big time in marginalized communities is one of two things, but they're never really together in marginalized communities, is availability and accessibility. So there are some things that might become available, but not be accessible to everybody. And things that might be accessible might run out before it becomes available. So when you're looking at information or books or even that glimmer of hope, there are a lot of children that I didn't even realize, a lot of children who lack that little glimmer of hope. And sometimes what happens is they get it in the school system because there's a teacher that says, you know what, I really see you can be something. And that's where that little glimmer of hope starts. But guess what? That little glimmer of hope can be sure enough dead in a home where really it's just as fast as it's given to them. And so you look at, now we're talking about adults. And we don't realize how much adults are feeding into their children. And so when they're out here struggling, leaving their kids at home because they have to work nights, and that's the only time they have to work. So they're locking the door. They're trying to feed themselves. They're 9 years old watching a 4 and a 3 or a 6-year-old. That's real life for them. And so for them, it might not be as easy to say as they get older, because this is all they know. It's not as easy for them to say, you know what, this is what I'm going to rise and become, if there was never showed an example of how to rise and how to become. So in some ways, we can take the stance that what happened to me, everybody has an opportunity to have if they work hard for it. There are people who just by circumstance, no matter how hard they work, have not been able to pull themselves out of ghettos. Hella smart, but they just their circumstance just has not wielded that for them.
I made some life-altering decisions at a very young age. So I created a lot of obstacles along the way based on my decisions. And then I had to, however, reach a place in life where I said, hey, you know what? I have to get off the hamster wheel. I have to start doing something different if I want to change my circumstances, because I've repeated this process over and over and over again. And I'm getting the same result, just in different scenarios, collecting data unnecessarily when I need to change something in me. I need to make a different choice. I need to do something different. And only until I allowed myself to have the courage enough, to be brave enough to break free of that poverty ideology that I was consumed with by, the people around me. Sometimes people get stuck.
Well, they glamorize the ghetto sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They really do.
Exactly. People get ghetto. And that's where that you start to impart fear in these babies, at a very young age about stepping out, even going to an airport, getting on a plane or going to the beach, or Black people don't know how to swim because they're afraid of the water, because back in the day, they were throwing babies in the lake being eaten by alligators. These theology, it's all these things are generational. So at what point, again, what do we say? Everyone's soft life idea is just that for them. This is the softest, most peaceful life that I've experienced in this time, compared to all the things that I've struggled through. All my struggles that I had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't struggle that way anymore. I move with ease. I don't even rush through the grocery store anymore. I chill. I give myself enough time to get through the airport to go gracefully. I don't want to be late, and I don't want to be, So that's where I am in life. And so that's soft for me. That has nothing to do with me being passionate about my business or how I'm going to show up here. If I'm going to sit down and just balls to the wall, write the book and don't lift my head up and make my eyeballs swole and then I can't function. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take a nap before I do that to myself. And I'm going to sleep as long as I need to. Unapologetically, So it looks different for everybody. It does, and the one thing that I think I've appreciated more than anything during this time of shifting from build to chill mode is that I have support and people understand, that, and I can say it like this, like I'm not apologizing for not checking my email for 2 days. I'm not apologizing for letting the text thread fill up today. I'm not.
No, I cannot.
And I just got to a place where I give myself permission to just know.
Messages give me anxiety.
I've been at the place where I can forget text messages.
I think one time I looked at her phone, she had what, like 500-600 text messages.
Lord have
All
mercy.
thrown away. Just delete everything.
Exactly.
If I ain't read it by now, I ain't gonna read it.
Just let it go. Just let it go. Let it
The
go.
biggest thing is exposure. If we could give anything to younger generations that are growing, it's to demonstrate you living in your soft life. Because growing up, I don't know anybody
Me either.
that I can recall that I can say, oh yeah, she was definitely in her soft girl life. Every single person, female in my family and other people that I came across, they were getting it how they need to get it. Like my mom worked 3 jobs, right? And I think sometimes that is modeled. I was in my master's program working 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs and was getting my master's degree. Like that's what I saw. You just do. You want to have nice stuff. You work to get to fund your lifestyle, right? I think if I probably would have been exposed to something different, maybe my life would have took a different path. Maybe not, but who knows? We will never know. So whatever young individuals, and this is male and female, that we have in our life who sees us, start to share with them what a soft life can look like. For me, it looks like this. When you grow up, when you have a soft life, what do you want for it to be, right? With that void of struggle, like consistent struggle, and start again. We talk about planting those seeds so that they can see something else. Because if they're coming from a household where there is a lot of struggle financially, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, we might be the only glimmer of hope where they're like, dang, I knew this lady that came and talked to me, or my auntie, or my cousin, or whoever, and she always talked about, you can have your soft life while you build, and help them to create that story for them so they can start to create their own game plan. Like, I don't know if I ever verbally said that to Morgan, but even with us just having this conversation, it makes me want to be more intentional. So she doesn't have to wait till she's in her 40s to start to live that type of life. She can actually start now. So she's not struggling the way that I am as it relates to obtaining that.
I think, I agree. I think like I'm really close to one of my nieces, and my conversations with her is not to even struggle. It's to live comfortably and what that can look like. So instead of doing like me, having 2-3 jobs and whatnot, teaching, having a full-time job, running a business, that's still 3 jobs. I'd rather her be passionate about what she likes, be able to live comfortably, not beyond her means, and she can have a very soft life much early on, as opposed to grinding until she's in her 30s or in her 40s or anything else like that. And so I'm very cognizant about having conversations about lessons I learned and things that I wish I could have told my younger self, So I don't want her to have that hustle mentality. I want her to grow and be successful and be able to make very much so conscious decisions that can impact how, when she gets older, what she wants it to look like. And if that means, hey, I would like to retire early. Well, let's talk about what that looks like in your 20s versus when just before it's time for you to start planning retirement.
Right. I think being clear. Also, so for our listeners, understand that struggle is not the same as challenges, because you need challenges in your life to develop you, right? Amen. You can't just coast through life like it's easy breezy, but you have to have challenges, because that's how you grow your skills. Like you're like, oh, let me problem solve this. Oh, let me strategize this. Let me figure that out. So challenges are necessary, a necessary part of growth. So if you're listening to this, you don't have to struggle in order to be able to get over challenges. Challenges are things we process through, we work through, we have a strategy, we get through them, right? And then also another part of the soft life is you got to think about soft life in multiple dimensions. right? So if we're talking about soft life from a financial standpoint, again, check. I don't care about that. How is your emotionally, how are you showing up in your soft life? Spiritually, how are you showing up in your soft life? Physically, how are you showing up in your soft life? Now, I think that's a challenge for me personally, because physically I got health challenges, but how are you defining? Yes, and yes, I have health challenges, and I can still say I'm living in my soft life. I'm not there yet, but that's what I want to be able to say, regardless of what the diagnosis is. I still have a comfortability with doing what I need to do to be successful with managing the symptoms that come from this diagnosis. So look at it from multiple angles. And if you want to see the health and the balance of your soft life, look at it from all dimensions, because you can be financially living soft life, but guess what? Everything else is messed up and tore up from the floor up, and you just a raggedy human being. So look at it multiple dimensions, not just finances, not just spiritually, not just emotionally, not just mentally, but from all of the dimensions. How do I rate me living in my soft life?
Okay.
I love that.
Good note to end on. Gracious. Diana, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to piggyback. Cortina, I agree. I think that, with soft life living, it doesn't mean that you'll never feel tired or challenged by any means, but it just means that you're not choosing the unnecessary struggle, right? No unnecessary struggling. You're not staying in chaos, dysfunction, or overextension as a lifestyle, so yeah.
And I like to add, listen, we have reached a place in life, first and foremost, you shouldn't even be doing anything that's going to cause you stress. Who's you are volunteer. I tell anybody, if you're going to a job and you are feeling absolute complete insanity, you are paying people to, you are showing up every day. You're making an effort to get up, put your nice clothes on, go to the office, and be present and bring your bad attitude first thing in the morning. You're showing up to a place that you don't even want to be. You have the power to change your circumstance. Choose a different destination. You don't have to do it. You can choose something different. And whatever it takes for you to reach the marker, then you need to decide, hey, this is the route I'm going, and I'm not going to let anything get in my way, because you don't have to be stuck in a poverty mindset. You can do something different. Hey, you're in control of your own success.
Yeah.
And your own stress.
All right. So Shay, tell everybody where they can find you at.
All right. You can find me on Instagram, The Coach of Courage, or the website, www.thecoachofcourage.com.
And Diana.
Hi, yes, you can find me at Diana Richardson Philippus on all social media platforms, or www.dianarichardsonphilippus.com.
And Dr. Lewis.
You can find me at The Girlfriend Therapist on all social media platforms, and you can find me at the Noir, Noir Center, on all social media platforms as well.
All right. And you can find me on all social media platforms at IAMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley. And of course, you can follow the Herspiration Happy Hour on all social media platforms. And don't forget that hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you're going to play this back, we definitely appreciate you, because I think how many downloads did we get last week? It was like 300 and
almost
something.
400.
Yeah. 400 downloads last week. We are so grateful and thankful for everyone who is tuning in, who has been supporting us since the first release. I think was back in 2017 December, and I think we're coming up on whatever year that is anniversary. 8 years. 8 years. And so it has been an honor and a pleasure to provide you all entertainment on some real important topics. And we're definitely looking to continue this on. So you'll find us back here next week, same time and same place. What's next week? We got one more week before November comes in. So that's next week. So no, the reason why I'm saying that is because one of the things that's going to be most important that we're going to talk about is voting. So we definitely want to make sure everybody does that. So we'll be back here next week having some very real conversations about the state of this state of America. So tune in next week. Until next time. Cheers.
This is Herspiration Happy Hour.